The next day, we packed up, got back on the ferry, rode 1,000,000 buses to the airport, and flew back to Manila. After landing, we promptly made our way to the nearby city of Makati. Which is kind of like the Los Angeles of the Philippines, except less crowded, and with more street vendors. After a bit of sightseeing and eating, we left to go somewhere else, so that we could go and eat. Sisig, made from chopped up bits of pork, which are boiled, then broiled, then fried with onions and other seasonings, all served on a sizzling platter. Highly recommended. There were also kids selling quail eggs, which we bought and ate. Also recommended. And then there was this. A humongous lumpia. Basically a spring roll filled with meat and vegetables, then deep fried. Normal lumpia is about the size of a cigar. This, on the other hand, was nearly the size of a burrito. Highly recommended, although these may be a bit harder to find. More food and a few Red Horse extra strong beers later, it was time to leave. The next morning, we packed our bags once again and headed for the airport, where we were greeted by a truly epic sunrise. Next stop, Hong Kong. After a quick drive to the hotel, we decided to check into our rooms. But we were 4 hours too early. So instead, we checked out the local shops. I found this great-looking meat shop, but I didn't buy anything, so the owner got mad and told me to leave. After a bit of sightseeing later that night, we joined a tour. We boarded a tram that would take us about a mile away up to the top of Victoria Peak, which overlooks Victoria Harbor and most of Hong Kong. Also at the peak was a wax museum, where we saw celebrities and the British, and even Hitler. There were also basketballers and ladies' men. A few singers and one chairman later, it was time to go. The next day, we took another tour, which started off strong as we soaked in the fantastic view of the Hong Kong skyline from the harbor. And then it got slightly less interesting when our tour guide brought us to a jewelry factory shop thing. it got worse when our tour guide took us to a small outlet shopping store. No worries though, because next we were going to Macau. But first, we had to catch a ferry. Which we got to just in time. One quick boat ride later, we were at the ferry building in Macau, where we met up with another tour guide who showed us some of the local scenery. Next, we were taken to a temple. This one, called the Ma Temple, was built over 500 years ago during the Ming Dynasty. Dedicated to a Chinese sea goddess named Mazu, the Ma Temple is actually where the name Macau came from. When the Portuguese came in the 15th century, got confused, and named the entire area after what they thought they heard. After burning some incense and offering prayers to the sea goddess, we made our way to some ruins. But first, we were taken to a bakery that sold meat jerky fillet things, as well as other various cookies and baked goods. And then we were off. These are the ruins of St. Paul's Cathedral. Built by the Jesuits in the year 1580, then destroyed by a fire in 1595, then rebuilt soon after, and then destroyed by a fire in 1601, then rebuilt soon after, and then destroyed by a fire in 1835. Then they stopped rebuilding, leaving only the front and the stairs leading up to it. Before it got dark, we decided to walk over to a nearby fortress, where we got another view of the old church. The fortress, which was once the military center for the old Portuguese colony, was also built by the Jesuits around the same time as a church. Amazingly, the fortress was never destroyed by a fire, and eventually became a museum that overlooks the city. Our last stop for the day was a hotel casino. Macau, being the only place in China where gambling is legal, is kind of like Las Vegas, meaning the hotels are also like the ones in Las Vegas. Nothing new to see here, so we left.